So I'm currently working for Home Credit US, which is a joint venture between Home Credit International, owned by PPF Group, Czech Republic, and a Sprint Wireless company here in the US. I lead sales, marketing, and product development organization as part of the management team based out of Kansas.
Okay. What other experience do you have in the financial sector?
What kind of experiences? Well, I've been in the industry for about 24 years. Always worked in consumer finance, retail banking. So grew up through marketing function, product development function. So functionally, I have a deep domain expertise in sales, marketing, product development. Then in terms of industry perspective, retail banking, specialized consumer finance or sales finance, and further deeper knowledge into the credit card industry, which spans multiple countries.
Okay, so what made you decide to get into the financial industry?
It's not something I actually anticipated getting into. It just happened by accident. My first priority after getting my master's in marketing was to try to get a job within that field, marketing field, market research field, that kind of thing. So when I got my first job, which was working for a charity in the UK, Bedfordshire, called Royal Society for the Protection of Birds,
Okay.
part of my role was to manage one of the partnership the charity had with the cooperative bank, which provided, they call it affinity card, to be promoted to RSPB membership base. And in return, RSPB got some, let's say, commission from the bank for every card issued to RSPB customers. So that's how I really ended up getting into the financial services industry just by accident.
Okay. So what would you say are like your top skills and attributes that you have?
Um, well, after having worked 20 something years, I think I'll probably break it down into three, four areas. I think first and foremost, from functional perspective, I have a deep knowledge in marketing and all aspects of marketing, whether it's market research, product management, pricing, promotion. So, marketing is quite broad, and I've had different roles throughout those 24 years. So, deep domain expertise in marketing. Then, secondly, when you think about the industry, I've been in the retail banking, consumer finance industry, so I have a deep knowledge in that industry with different business models and different and working in different countries. Combination of mature markets and emerging markets. So that's the second piece. The third piece I would say is at least when you've worked for so many years and as you move up the organization, the critical component is being able to lead a group of people towards certain business direction. So in short, leadership skills that are required in everyday business management, building teams, making sure the team are performing. So those are the three areas I would say are the critical components of what I've learned or possess based on working the last 24 years.
Okay. Have you ever had to present financial reports to management or anything at all?
Well, financial reports or financial information, let's say, as part of my role, I'm presenting 2, 3 times a week on a regular basis to the management team, especially reviewing the key metrics against your set targets or goals or business goals and how the business is performing. Then on top of that, there are certain key metrics that you measure on a day-to-day basis.
Mm.
some of the sales numbers, are they tracking to plan or not? And if they're not, what are the course correction actions you have to take? So short answer is yes, you do that as part of your daily job. Then you start, then you do the other type of special presentations depending who the audience is,
Okay.
whether it's a partner or whether it's some industry representative. So you do all of those kind of things.
Okay. So, do you currently work for a large corporation or a small corporation? And have you found a difference between both corporations at all?
It depends what the definition of large corporation
Like,
is or small corporation is. So Home Credit US is part of a fairly large consumer finance company.
okay.
And Home Credit is part of the PPF group, which is quite large in Czech Republic. It's privately owned. On the other hand, Home Credit US is a JV with Sprint, and Sprint is a fourth largest carrier in the US.
Yeah.
But the actual JV itself is almost like a startup. So we have a combination of large organization principles combined with the kind of a new startup here in the US, and there's only about 70, 80 of us. So we have a mixture of both, which is quite unique,
Okay.
simply because we started up just over a year ago here in the US.
Okay. So, working abroad and things, would you say you picked up other skills like language skills and things like that?
Well, fundamentally, even more important than the language skills is really understanding how those markets work and just adjusting your thinking, whether it's day-to-day thinking or strategies or how you execute, being flexible to modify them to make sure it's effective in the local market. So those are the things you pick up, combination of some of the cultural nuances, how people work or how people are motivated, and what kind of organization is effective. There are differences, so you learn those differences. And so fundamentally, you basically understand that one model doesn't work for every market. You need to adjust. Some of the principles will work, but you do need to adjust your thinking and style of your leadership to make sure it's effective in the local market.
Okay. Um, so, would you recommend getting into the financial industry to an undergraduate? And if so, how would you recommend they get into it?
I think first and foremost, as an undergrad, one of the questions you should think to yourself is, do I want to get into the business world? And business is very, very broad. And within that, what kind of discipline would I like to get into? Is it marketing? Is it product development? Is it research? Is it financial accounting?
Okay.
So if you kind of narrow some of your thought process there, then it gives you choice whether you want to go into consumer finance or retail banking or packaged good industry, or in the UK they call it FMCG, fast moving consumer goods industry. I have enjoyed working in financial services industry. One of the key things between packaged good industry and financial services is you're actually promoting a service. It's not necessarily a tangible, so it adds its own complexity. Essentially, you're selling a promise to the customer instead of a physical, tangible good. So that makes it interesting. I think the banking industry is now so interconnected around the globe. It's an interesting industry where you can learn a lot about what's going on around the world. And I guess one of the best way to get into it is find a good company with a good management program where you'll do rotational projects perhaps for the first 24 months. That's probably the best way to get into the financial services industry.